Hey, what's up everyone? So I'm here in Sedona, probably one of my last nights here. I didn't get a chance to go backpacking last night just because when I got to the trailhead it was really late. I'm gonna adjust this real quick. When I got to the trailhead it was real late. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon. Got going on the trail and then ended up turning around because it got dark and I wasn't to my location yet that I was planning to get to. It was about 4 miles in. And so I didn't want to set up in the dark and not be familiar with the surroundings and stuff like that. So decided to come back. We'll do it another time. It's all good. But I've had some questions as of late and wanted to go ahead and talk about it, about, you know, what's the weirdest or craziest stuff that I've seen in the backcountry, because I've been out here now for almost 5 years and been going all over Utah and Colorado and New Mexico and Arizona, California, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Tennessee. Let's see, I said Texas. So that's pretty much it. I haven't gone to the Pacific Northwest yet. I'd love to do that, but you know, I've seen lots of different terrain, been around a lot of different types of ecosystems and all different types of animals. And a couple stories real quick before I tell you the craziest thing that happened. I did see a mountain lion up close once, and it was massive. Had this stovepipe tail, literally about this big around. And I was up on the top of a pass outside of Villa Grove, Colorado. And there's an old Forest Service cabin up there, which no one ever stays in. And you can rent it online from recreation.gov, but no one's ever there, and the Forest Service always leaves wood in there. And so it was getting late in the evening, and I was doing trail work. I was doing some trash patrols up on those trails up there. And I thought, you know, I don't want to go set up anywhere. I just want to just crash in the cabin and just have a nice evening because it was kind of cold. So I went up there and crashed out. And right before I got to the cabin, I wanted to fill up my water bottle. So I have the water in the back of my truck and pulled over, got out of my truck, filled up the water bottle, came back around the front side of my vehicle, and there was a massive mountain lion standing down the road about 20 feet in front of me. And I mean, this thing was so big, and it was standing there like this, looking at me, and its back was up in the air, and it was kind of crouched down like this. And I swear it had like Hulk Hogan muscles. I mean, these muscles, it was like I could see them defined, and this tail was just as long as it was. It must have been, I mean, I don't even know. It was bigger than me. I mean, it must have been well over 200 pounds. And I'd say like 6 feet long plus the tail, which is like another 4 feet. So like, yeah, I just was like, what the hell? And it took one step and jumped up like a 20-foot cliff and was gone. And I was just like, holy shit. And so I got my truck and just got out of there. So that was crazy. This year, actually, up in Poverty Gulch outside of Crested Butte, I saw 6 black bears in one 24-hour period. So I was just like, you know, that's a little too many in one day. So I packed up camp and got out of there. And then, but the craziest thing that ever happened was that I was up by St. Elmo, Colorado, and there's a trail up there where it's actually the Continental Divide Trail. And it comes through, let's see, it comes up and then goes over the Alpine Tunnel Trail, and then over the Hancock Pass Trail, and then towards the Hancock Lakes, and keeps going over, I think that's Chalk Creek Pass, I can't remember what the pass is up there. But anyway, it kind of skirts the Hancock Lakes area. And there's a section of it that is now defunct, and it's been defunct for a long time because they rerouted the trail. So anyway, there's this trail that's way back up in there, and I've been up on it before, like I said, the defunct portion of it. So it's kind of rough now, and there's lots of trees that have fallen down, and just like kind of your typical you know, mountain area with just debris everywhere and stuff like that. But the trails, you can still kind of see it. And so I was camping close to that. There's a place with where you can pull off with your vehicle at like 11,000, I think it's like 11,200 feet, or it's either 11,200 feet or 10,200 feet. And it's a great place to camp. It's awesome. There's not a lot of people go up in that area. I mean, there's people that go up to fish the lake, but not a lot of times that people camp. They usually camp down a little bit lower. And so I was up there with Sierra, and we had a great evening. Did some stuff by the campfire, and she and I were just kind of hanging out. Then in the morning we got up, and I got out of the truck first, and Sierra was still sleeping in. And when I got out of the truck, I noticed that there were no bird sounds. And that's rare because there's birds everywhere. Like in the morning in Colorado, as soon as the sun starts coming up in the high country, you start hearing the birds going. And it's kind of cool because you'll hear like one bird over here, and then a couple minutes later one over here, and then they'll start to get a little bit more. And then next thing you know, it's this whole chorus of birds that are kind of doing their thing and doing their songs in the morning as the sun's coming up. And I noticed when I got out of the truck, it was dead silent. And that really kind of put me on edge because that doesn't happen, you know, back there. It's there's always animals around. They're always making noise, especially the birds in the morning. So Sierra eventually woke up. I was cooking breakfast. I got her out of the truck. She hopped out of the back, and immediately all the hair on her back stood up. And I thought, okay, there's, you know, she's sensing something that I'm freaked out because there's no noise back here. It's dead silent, which is crazy. But she's freaked out too. She's sitting right over here. She's freaked out too, and we were just kind of, I was just kind of like, okay, what's going on? I got a real creepy feeling. And she started looking up the hill towards where that trail, that now decommissioned part of the Continental Divide Trail is. She started looking up the hill right at that. And she was making a really low growl, like a guttural growl. And I had never heard her make that noise before, so I thought, oh, okay, there's someone up there. You know, someone's looking down on us, and or something. I didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, rocks about bowling ball size started getting hurled down towards our camp. And they were getting thrown. I'd hear them go like you could hear something kind of just chuck it, and then you would hear the branches. Sometimes the branches would get hit, and then it would crash on the ground, and it was hitting like 10 feet from us. And there were about 4 or 5 different rocks that were thrown down like that, large size rocks. They weren't quite boulders, but I'd say like bowling ball size. And so I grabbed my .22 long rifle and I shot into the air, thinking that it would, stop whoever's up there doing that. Well, I heard a big rustle and commotion, and I thought, well, there's people up there fucking with me. That's what this is. There's some people from town who think this is cute, and they're throwing stuff at me. So I'm gonna go up and check it out. This whole time, Sierra is still making that growl. But when I shot the rifle, she got kind of scared. So I put her in the truck and made sure she was safe, locked it, and went up the hill. And so I went up there, and I had my rifle with me, and I was saying, I'm like, hey, I got a rifle. Quit fucking throwing rocks at me. This is not cool. And I didn't get a response. And so I thought that was kind of weird, and I kept on walking closer and closer. And as I got to this area, it goes uphill like this, and then it goes over a hump, and then it goes back down, and that's where the trail is. And I heard something up there as I got close. I heard something start to move, and I thought, okay, well, that's the people. I'm right next to them. They're right here. And so I got up on that ridge there, and by the time I got up there, whatever this was had gone from where I was to about 50 yards away and nothing flat. And it wasn't a moose, and it wasn't a black bear, and I don't know what it was because I didn't get a good look at it, but I could tell from the profile of it, it wasn't either one of those. And with the way it was moving so fast, it wasn't one of those animals. So I don't know what it was, and it freaked me out big time. I immediately ran down the hill and got in my truck and sped out of there. I actually went out so fast I ended up breaking a CV axle, and I had to get that repaired. But I didn't tell anybody about that in town because I didn't want them to think I was, I'm out there alone, and I don't want them to think like, oh yeah, Brian's just losing his marbles out there. But that's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, and I don't know what it was. I don't want to speculate and say that it was, some sort of alien or crazy Bigfoot or whatever. But I just don't. I've just never experienced that. Like even when the black bears came in, and I saw them earlier this year up in Poverty Gulch. There's birds around and stuff like that. It wasn't dead silent, and that was the biggest indicator that something was amiss. That with the birds not making their noise, and like there was no insect sound. There was nothing. I mean, it was straight up silent, and that's very rare to have happen up there. And in conjunction with big old stones being thrown down the hill at me, and all that stuff. And then later on, it was not in that area. It was actually over. Let's see, where was I at? It was on the Colorado Trail. I think it was section 13. No, it was section 14. It was down over towards the Mount Princeton Hot Springs. I was hiking along one day on the Colorado Trail, and I came across this print that was on a rock, and I thought it was maybe just the way that the dew was evaporating off the rock, and it looks hokey, but it still freaked me out because it was like this print that was probably, let's say it was this long. Okay, so my foot, it was like this. It was like that long compared to my foot. And I didn't put my foot next to it and take a picture. I only had like enough battery juice on my camera to take one picture before it kept like failing. So I took a picture of it. I'll put it up here now. And I mean, it looks like a foot, but I don't think that was Bigfoot. I think it was, if you look at the rock itself and all the way around it, I think it was just the way the water was evaporating off of that rock. And it was probably a lot of dew in the morning, and then as it was evaporating, it was just evaporating up the rock, and then the top part hadn't evaporated yet, so it still looked wet, and it just made a pattern that looked like a foot. So, I mean, it is what it is. Right, but the previous story I was saying though about that, you know, when I was up near the Hancock Lakes and with that defunct section of the Continental Divide Trail, I mean, I don't know what that was, and that still freaks me out to this day. And I've been on the road. I've been out in the backcountry full time for 5 years, in summer, spring, fall, winter, and I've never experienced anything like that that gave me such a weird feeling. So, so for those who have been asking about that, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't want to speculate and say it was something crazy. You know, that, like I said, I don't think it was aliens or anything like that, but I wasn't a black bear, and it wasn't a moose. And moose are huge, and they usually make a ton of noise when they go through the forest. But the weird thing is the section of this trail, and I caught a glimpse of the animal like really far away, and it was cooking, and it was jumping over all the downed trees that were there, and it was just going at an extremely high rate of speed. So, you know, I don't know what it was, and I hope to never have an experience like that again, because I was very uncomfortable in the backcountry for about a month after that. And I actually camped really close to town for a while, and then I rented a cabin along the Arkansas River for a week, and just stayed inside and kind of decompressed, because I really was legitimately scared from that. So anyway, if you got any questions, hit me up in the comment section below. Oh, and then I'm gonna go hang out with Phil from Down to Mob later this week, and I want to say thank you to Phil for telling me about Lala's burritos. I guess it's the traditional style. Made in the tradition of Old Mexico. These are the best tortillas for burritos that you could possibly have. So I've been motoring through these things. Got the family pack, and it's about done. I got them like 3 days ago. So I've been eating these things like crazy. But anyway, that's what happened to me. And yeah, so hit me up in the comment section below. Thanks.